Emily Thompson was exhausted. After hours of studying in the campus library, she decided to call it a night. It was late, well past midnight, and the campus was eerily quiet as she walked to her car. The only sound was the faint rustling of leaves in the cold autumn breeze. She had a long drive ahead of her on the desolate stretch of road leading home. As she drove through the dark, empty roads, her thoughts drifted to the upcoming exams. She barely noticed the stranded car on the side of the road until it was almost too late. Next to the car stood a man dressed as a clown, illuminated by the harsh light of her headlights. He waved frantically, signaling for help. Emily's heart pounded. Every horror movie she had ever seen screamed at her to keep driving, but her innate sense of compassion won out. She pulled over, rolling down her window just enough to hear him. "Please, can you help me?" the clown begged, his voice shaky. "My car broke down and my phone is dead. I just need a ride to the nearest gas station." Against her better judgment, Emily agreed. The clown climbed into the passenger seat, his presence immediately filling the car with an unsettling sense of dread. They drove in silence for a few minutes before Emily noticed the clown staring at her, his painted smile seeming more sinister by the second. "Thank you for stopping," the clown said, breaking the silence. His voice had a strange, almost sing-song quality to it. Not many people would. Most just drive by, too afraid or too busy to help. Emily forced a smile. "It's no problem. Everyone needs a little help sometimes." "That's true," the clown replied, his eyes never leaving her. "But kindness can be dangerous, you know. You never really know who you might be helping." Emily's grip tightened on the steering wheel. "I guess that's a risk we all take." The clown chuckled, a low, unsettling sound. "You're very brave, Emily, or maybe just very foolish." Her heart skipped a beat. "How do you know my name?" The clown tapped his nose with a gloved finger. "Oh, I have my ways. Names are such interesting things, don't you think? They hold so much power." Emily's unease grew. "What's your name?" "Names aren't important," he said, his smile widening. "But if you must call me something, you can call me Mr. Jingles." "Mr. Jingles," Emily repeated, trying to keep her voice steady. "That's an interesting name. Fitting for a clown, don't you think?" Mr. Jingles said, his eyes gleaming in the dim light. "I've always loved the circus. The excitement, the thrill, the unpredictability. You never know what might happen next." Emily glanced at the road ahead, wishing she could reach the gas station faster. "I suppose that's true." "Tell me, Emily," Mr. Jingles continued, leaning closer. "Do you like the circus?" "I haven't been to one in years," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Such a shame," he said, his tone almost mocking. "The circus is a place of wonders, a place where anything can happen." Emily's heart pounded in her chest. "Why do you like the circus so much?" Mr. Jingles' smile faded slightly. "Because, Emily, the circus is a place where reality bends, where the impossible becomes possible. It's a place where people can disappear and no one will ever find them." The car filled with a tense silence, the only sound the hum of the engine. Emily's mind raced, trying to find a way to end the conversation. "You know," Mr. Jingles said softly, "sometimes people need to be reminded of the wonders of the circus, to see the magic for themselves." Before Emily could react, Mr. Jingles pulled out a small device from his pocket. It emitted a sharp, high-pitched sound. Emily's vision blurred, and darkness quickly overtook her. Emily awoke with a start, her head pounding. She found herself bound to a chair in a dimly lit room. The walls were covered in peeling circus posters, and the air smelled of mildew and decay. Panic set in as she struggled against her restraints, the realization of her predicament sinking in. The clown appeared before her, his painted grin now a menacing leer. "Welcome to my circus," he whispered, his voice dripping with malice. "You're the star of tonight's show." Emily's eyes darted around the room, looking for any means of escape. She noticed other captives, each bound and gagged, their eyes filled with terror. Among them was Sarah, a young woman who had been missing for weeks, her once bright eyes now dull with despair. The clown relished in their fear, taunting them with twisted tricks and cruel jokes. Emily knew she had to get out, but the odds seemed insurmountable. Her mind raced as she formulated a plan. She managed to loosen the ropes around her wrists, freeing herself just enough to slip out of the chair. The clown's back was turned, and Emily seized the opportunity. She crept toward a nearby door, her heart pounding in her chest. Just as she reached for the handle, it creaked loudly. The clown spun around, his eyes locking onto hers. "Trying to leave the party early," he sneered, lunging at her. Emily darted through the door, slamming it behind her. She found herself in a dark corridor, lined with old circus props and tattered curtains. The air was thick with dust, making it hard to breathe. She heard the clown's footsteps behind her, his maniacal laughter echoing through the halls. Emily ran, tears streaming down her face. Her breath came in ragged gasps as she stumbled through the dimly lit corridors. She found a small nook behind a stack of old crates and squeezed herself into the tight space, her body trembling with fear. The footsteps grew louder, closer. She clamped a hand over her mouth to stifle her sobs. The clown's voice echoed through the hall, chilling her to the bone. "Oh, Emily, come out, wherever you are. The show must go on." She squeezed her eyes shut, praying he wouldn't find her. Minutes felt like hours as she remained hidden, every creak and groan of the building making her flinch. The footsteps eventually faded, and she dared to peek out. The hallway was empty. Summoning every ounce of courage, Emily crept out of her hiding spot. She had to find a way out. She moved cautiously, her senses on high alert. The old circus was a maze of narrow passages and decaying rooms, each one more sinister than the last. She stumbled upon a small office filled with dusty papers and old telephones. Desperately, she rifled through the drawers and found a working cell phone. Her hand shook as she dialed 911, whispering urgently to the operator about her situation and the clown. The operator assured her that help was on the way. Emily knew she had to keep moving. She couldn't let the clown find her again. She crept through the halls, every shadow a potential threat. Suddenly, she heard the distant sound of sirens. Relief washed over her, but she knew she wasn't safe yet. She made her way to an exit, but the clown appeared, blocking her path. His face twisted with rage. "You can't leave," he snarled. "The show isn't over." Emily's mind raced. She grabbed a nearby proper heavy, wooden cane and swung it with all her might. The clown staggered back, giving her just enough time to push past him and burst through the door. She ran through the dark, empty circus grounds, not daring to look back. The sirens grew louder, closer. She kept running until she reached the safety of the flashing lights and uniformed officers. They surrounded her, asking questions, but all she could do was point back towards the circus. The officers escorted Emily to safety, and she explained everything in a panicked rush. The police moved in on the abandoned circus, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. Emily watched from a distance, her body shaking with fear and relief. The authorities stormed the abandoned circus, but the clown had vanished, leaving behind a haunting silence and the other hostages, now freed from their nightmarish ordeal. Emily was taken to safety, and a massive manhunt was launched for the deranged clown. Emily thought she was finally safe, but a lingering sense of dread haunted her. Weeks passed, and Emily tried to move on with her life. One evening, she returned home to find a package on her doorstep. She opened it to reveal a small music box. As it played a haunting tune, she noticed a note inside. "I'm always watching. See you at the next show. Your favorite clown, Mr. Jingles." Emily's blood ran cold. She knew the nightmare was far from over. The clown was still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for his next performance. Thank you for joining me on this spine-chilling journey with Emily and the sinister Mr. Jingles. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more terrifying tales. Stay safe, and remember, sometimes it's better to trust your instincts and keep driving. Until next time, keep an eye on the shadows and beware the unexpected.